Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Patrick Prohaska from Lightbridge Academy, and this is Lightbridge Happy Hour. And I am really happy to have all of you here with me today. This is always such a joyful experience for me, even though sometimes I have a difficult time crawling out of bed on Sunday mornings. And today was no exception. It took some real effort on my part to get out of bed and start the day, but now we're here, we're connected, and I feel fantastic, and I'm happy to be sharing this with you. So everybody, thank you so much. This is the second to the last weekly version of this in the month of May. I'll be doing one more next month, and then Lightbridge Happy Hour is going to transform a little bit, going to cut back to doing it one time a month, but I'm going to expand the format quite a bit. So I'm adding in a number of other things, and I want to make it more like a production. So everyone, I'm really happy to have all of you here with me. Today, our theme is ancestral healing and clearing patterns that exist within your family, those family traditions that don't serve you, but you hold on to just because that's the way it's always been done, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. So, everybody, please make sure you're in a very safe and comfortable place with no distractions. Set aside your cell phone. Please, no driving, no chopping vegetables, nothing like that. And allow me to connect energetically with you and with your higher self. Beautiful. And as I'm making that connection, begin to feel how it expands beyond you and allows you to connect with every other person who's in the group today and every person who will be listening to the recording of this at some time in the future. Okay, beautiful. Everyone take a very, very deep breath and hold it for a moment. Mm. And release when you're ready. Okay, awesome. Okay, so every now and then I get an email message from somebody asking the question, why don't you do ancestral healings? Why don't you do something on the ancestral level? And my answer is always, I do that in absolutely everything I do. Ancestral healing is built in to everything that we do in Lightbridge. We just don't explicitly say it out loud. So, one of the joyful things about Lightbridge is that whenever we do a healing process, whenever we do an activation or an attunement or subconscious reprogramming or belief sculpting or use any of the tools that's in the Lightbridge toolkit, I always set the intention that the energy go anywhere and everywhere it needs to go and on all levels where it needs to go. And those levels include your current lifetime, your past lives, your future lives, your family heritage, family history, your DNA, your ancestry, your cultural heritage, and so forth. It's all built into it. So sometimes I'll see an issue and it'd be very clear that this is some sort of family tradition or some sort of cultural heritage thing. And then I'll focus in on that level individually. But even when I'm not focused on past lives or family heritage, that's still the intention for every single healing or every single shifting process that's done in Lightbridge. But because the question has come up a few times, I thought I would go through a few things today that are very common, things that I see over and over again. So, first of all, a lot of times people are blocked from doing what they want to do with their lives. A lot of times people are blocked from living their truth, speaking their truth, living their life on their terms, because on a subconscious level, they believe that their actions will dishonor their family history or embarrass their ancestors or bring shame to their family history. So The first thing I want to bring up for everyone and clear is I just want to get into anywhere and everywhere you have been blocked from doing something that you really want to do because there's that voice in the back of your head that says, it's just not done in my family. It would embarrass my mom and dad. It would bring shame to them. It would dishonor them for you to do something that they disapprove of. So let's just get the truth about what's really going on there, recognize that as a limitation, and clear away any patterns you have of self sabotage or of blocking yourself or of simply not taking action to achieve something because you were worried about dishonoring your heritage. So let's just bring that forth, and it's going to bring that up into your awareness so you can be more conscious about the decisions you're making, and you can recognize that you living your life on your terms does not dishonor anybody. That if somebody in your ancestry disapproves of you doing something that you want to do that would bring you fulfillment and that doesn't hurt other people, that their discomfort with you doing it is their problem, it's not yours. And you don't dishonor them. In fact, you give them an opportunity to grow by striking out on your own. So let's just bring that forward as an energetic mindset. Beautiful. And in the future, when you are deciding to do something, when you're deciding to take action to create something for yourself, and there's that voice in the back of your head that says, that's just not done in this family, my parents would disapprove. Let's bring in an awareness of how to and what it feels like to process that energy with grace and ease, and then move forward with confidence in what it is you would like to do. Beautiful. Now, I'm not talking about some sort of hedonistic free for all. You know, it would bring dishonor to your family. It would shame them if you were to become a wanton criminal. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you simply living your life on your terms and doing the things that you want to do, so long as they're not hurting other people. That clause, so long as it doesn't hurt other people, is what blocks us. We have in the back of our mind, well, it hurts my mother. What will she think? So let's just clear that away. Oh, okay, beautiful. Excellent. Now, the second thing is the fear, the deep seated fear that if you live your life on your terms, your ancestry will reject you. And that therefore, you living your life on your terms is forbidden by your parents or your grandparents or your ancestry. And therefore, you should follow their path rather than your own. Let's just get the truth about that and clear it away right now. Anywhere and everywhere, you have decided that you are forbidden to live life on your terms, and that the person or group who forbids it is in your ancestry. Let's just clear all of that away. Beautiful. And now, a third thing that blocks us is the feeling that if you were to break with your cultural heritage, if you were to break with your family heritage, you would no longer know who you are. You would no longer recognize yourself because your family history and your family heritage defines you as a person. And the goal is not to completely and utterly disconnect you from your family heritage, because there's a lot of positive and joyful and beneficial things that can uplift you in your traditions as well as hold you back. So the goal here is to make it so that you can know exactly who you are as an individual, distinct and separate from your family heritage, and at the same time know exactly who you are as an individual in relation to and connected with your family heritage. So say yes to receive this awareness Beautiful. And as with everything in Lightbridge, I'm essentially drawing this knowledge from your higher self and offering it to your current egoic consciousness right now, so that you can know on a very deep level who you are as an individual separate from your family and who you are in relation to your family. And that can help you better navigate the decisions that you need to make that sometimes feel like they're a break from your family heritage. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. Now, everyone take a very, very deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release when you're ready. Okay, so the next two things I want to talk about are a little bit more involved. So bear with me. I'm going to go through two other things. I've actually got five other things on my agenda, but the next two are fairly large. So I'm going to go through both of those, and then I'm going to take some callers and open up the phone lines before I get back to completing the agenda with the final three items that I have listed. So the next one is fairly complex, and you need to really wrap your mind around it. It's the concept of what's called biomimetic mimicry. It's where you mimic in your physical body and in your energy field the energy that was modeled for you by your loved ones, your parents, and so forth. It's not your energy, it's energy that you picked up from them that you are modeling, that you are like expressing yourself because your empathy or your openness and your connection just makes it feel natural for you to have the same mannerisms, the same reactions, the same pet peeves as your parents, even though none of that really originates with you or your experience. This can be a joyful thing because it can make you feel like you're connected with your parents, especially after they've died. And I know this energy well myself. My parents died many years ago. And every now and then I slip into their energetic patterns as a way of maintaining connection with them. It is possible for you to stay connected with your parents without mimicking their energy. Um, but essentially, when it slows people down or blocks them is when, for example, you, as you were growing up, you saw that your mother, for example, once she turned 50, her hair started going gray and she started getting arthritis. And therefore, you have kind of programmed in the back of your mind that you, at the age of 50, are going to have exactly the same symptoms. And it's going to emerge, your symptoms in life will emerge on exactly the same timeline as they did in your mother or your father if you're in that energy of mimicry. The fact of the matter is, those symptoms don't need to emerge at all because they're not your symptoms. They belong to your parents and you're just mimicking them. So we'll do this on a couple of levels. We'll do this on just the energetic level of wanting to maintain connection with your parents or your loved ones or your ancestors, and therefore you just mimic their energy because it makes you feel connected with them. And then we're going to clear it on the genetic level because these energies soak into your body on the cellular level, and over time they get encoded into your DNA. So after a while, arthritis beginning at the age of 40 becomes a family tradition that gets passed down through the genes as well as through the cultural interactions. So everybody, kind of clear your minds once again and begin to allow into your awareness all of the different energetic patterns that you have that limit you. We're not doing the ones that make your life joyful, but any energetic pattern that limits you that you have picked up from your parents or your grandparents or other loved ones in your family. And anywhere and everywhere you've decided that these energetic patterns, you must have them in your life because otherwise you will no longer have connection with those loved ones. Let's bring in an awareness of how to connect with your loved ones in healthier ways and then purge that energy. Beautiful. And it's funny, it's interesting how so many people in my age group, I'm in my late 50s, it it's like we turn into our parents without ever realizing it. And then one day we look in the mirror and we see our mother or our father staring back at us. And it's merely because we've just absorbed their energetic patterns, the positive ones as well as the negative ones. Beautiful. Now let's clear anything that is in your energy system as a what we would call a timeline template. Anywhere where you are modeling your aging process and your aging timeline on your parents' aging timeline. So that if your parents developed diabetes at age 40, you develop diabetes at age 40. Let's get the truth about what's really going on there and clear those timeline mimicry patterns away. Beautiful. And sometimes this even goes into programming our time of death. In your subconscious mind, you think your grandfather died at 72, your father died at 72, therefore your expiration date is age 72. So if there's anything like that in you, let's clear it away. Beautiful. And now let's bring this down to the cellular level. Let's do a cellular healing and begin to purge out of your genetic material, out of your DNA, all of the energetic patterns that limited your parents, your grandparents, and your ancestry that are now programmed into you. So as I'm doing this, you may feel some bubbling or effervescence or tingling through your entire body. Whenever we're working on the cellular level, it can feel unusual, it can feel like ants are crawling on your skin. Just breathe into it and allow that shift to take place. Beautiful. And I just want to clarify that the only energies we are purging are the ones that limit you or that do not serve you. Any and all energetic patterns that your parents had or timelines that they were living on that were joyful and beneficial, we're keeping those in place. Okay, beautiful. Now, everyone, take a deep breath and hold it for a moment and release whenever you're ready. Wonderful. And now the next thing, it's also kind of big. I want to give this just a second to kind of settle into your system. The next thing that's on the list is clearing away family traditions that involve addiction or abuse or some sort of self destructive energy that gets passed down generation after generation after generation because of the trauma that was inflicted on children as they grew up in that atmosphere. So, trauma is a family tradition. And if there's a history of sexual abuse within your family, that tends to get encoded into people's behavior and they continue that into the future. If there's alcoholism or drug abuse within the family history, the traumatized child who grows up in that atmosphere is much more likely to become an alcoholic or a drug addict themselves in the future, and so the tradition continues. So if you have any traumatic traditions, any traditions that are passed down from parent to child because the child is traumatized during their childhood by the parents' misbehavior, alcoholism, drug abuse, sex addiction, or anything else. Let's clear that away right now. So we're going to do a little trauma clearing exercise. And the joy of this trauma clearing that we're going to do is that it's not only healing the trauma inside you, the energy of the healing is actually going back through your family history, and we're offering that energy to anyone and everyone in your family tradition and in your ancestry who needs it. Now, of course, it's up to them whether they want to accept that healing energy or not. Don't ever force healing on anybody, but it's available to them, and you absorbing it yourself can set an example for them whereby they will be attracted to the energy. So I want to give you a moment to clarify your mind and think about any traumatic experiences that are family traditions within your history. If you cannot think of anything, you can do one of two things. You can either allow your higher self to choose something for you. You don't even need to know what it is. Or if there truly is no trauma within your family history that's getting passed down from generation to generation, simply send unconditional love as support energy for everybody else who did have a more traumatic childhood. So take a moment to bring into your awareness what the issue is. And whatever the issue is, I want to begin by cleansing it so that you are less reactive to it, so that it makes you feel less defensive to think about it, so that if you remember your childhood abuse, you don't instantaneously relive it as you're thinking about it. Beautiful. And this is very powerful because this is at the heart and soul of law of attraction philosophy. If you think about a negative experience from the past and you're so triggered and defensive and in pain about that experience from many years ago that you relive it in the present moment as you're thinking about it, you are actually rebroadcasting that energy out into the universe, and you are guaranteeing the creation of it in the future. So we need to deactivate, diffuse the emotional energy of the memory so that you can simply remember it as something that happened and not relive it every time you think about it. So that's the first step in this. So whatever the trauma is, I'm going to look at it as something that just happened to you. It's in your history. It doesn't define you, and you don't need to relive it when you think about it. Beautiful. And now within you, let's clear away anything and everything that causes you to cling to the energy of that trauma, such as the belief that you need it in order to protect yourself. A lot of people hold on to their traumatic pain because they think if they let go of it, it will happen again. When the fact of the matter is the opposite is true. By holding on to that pain and living in fear of it, you actually invite it back. Let's clear that away. Beautiful. Anywhere where you've decided that it defines who you are and you simply don't know who you are without it. Anywhere where you have defined yourself as a victim of some kind of abuse. Let's find a new way to define you that's more empowering so you can know exactly who you are, completely and utterly free of this family tradition. Beautiful. Anywhere and everywhere you've been clinging to the energy of this trauma because it gives you a nice dramatic story to tell. You're holding on to it for the memories of it, for the drama, because it feeds your addiction to drama or your addiction to victim narratives or whatever. Let's just clear all that away. Beautiful. And now there's another really big one that I want you to think about. And it is a lot of times children feel that it's wrong for them to purge the energy of a traumatic tradition within the family because it's somehow wrong for them to have joy when their parents and grandparents lived in abuse. So let's just clear that away. Anywhere and everywhere you've decided that somehow it's wrong for you to not participate in the family tradition because you're dishonoring the pain that your parents suffered or your grandparents or anyone else. Let's clear that away. Okay. And essentially, what this is the belief that somehow it's wrong or improper for you to do better than your parents or for you to do better than your grandparents. So let's clear all of that. Okay. And then for any and all traditions of drama addiction, any and all family traditions of addiction to chaos, any and all traumatic family traditions of sexism or misogyny or treating women as property. Okay, any and all family traditions of sexism, misogyny, homophobia, and so forth. Let's just clear all of it away. Okay. Chemical addiction, such as alcohol, drug abuse, physical abuse, verbal emotional abuse, and sexual abuse. And for some people, you have all of those because they all seem to reinforce each other. So there are a few people on this call who grew up in an atmosphere of drug and alcohol addiction, physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, sexism, being treated like a possession, drama addiction, chaos addiction, all of it. It's important to purge this because you don't want to pass that energy on to your children if you have them. And if you don't have children, chances are you pass that energy on to your workplace or your circle of friends. So let's clear that away. And it is definitely true for a lot of people who are trying to break the family tradition of abuse and therefore they end up not having children themselves or they don't have a family. Their job is their new family. And they just bring that abusive energy into their work life or their circle of friends. Beautiful. And now, of course, we're purging trauma. We have to replace it with something. So let's bring in a massive, just beautiful wave of unconditional love energy and joy, and feel those energies of unconditional love and joy flooding every single cell of your body. Feel your body soaking up that unconditional love energy and that energy of joy like a sponge. And as you soak up this energy, you relay this energy back into your family heritage, your cultural heritage, and even your deep ancestry. So, this unconditional love energy can go to anyone and everyone who has ever touched you or relayed their energy to you. Just feel it going back into your family heritage. Beautiful. And don't try to force the energy on your parents or your grandparents. Simply offer it to them. and let them decide whether they want it or not. Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. Now everyone take another very, very deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release when you're ready. Wow. Okay. Okay, so I am going to unmute a few people. So we'll just let that energy settle for a while. And I am going to start with Tanya. Hi. Tanya, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm tired, but I'm doing well.
Good. Good.
What can I help you with?
Honestly, I didn't even know I had raised my hand, so I was surprised you
Oh.
called my
Oh,
name.
okay.
But
Yeah, no, your hand is raised.
oh,
I
okay.
guess yeah, Tanya had energy to share with the entire group, and that's a beautiful thing. So, okay, well, thank you, and I'll put you back on.
Well, no, I mean, I'd actually like to just give me a second. Let me. I'm going through a lot right now, so a lot has happened. Realizing big connections between me and my siblings
Mhm.
in the most beautiful way, and realizing just how connected we are and helping one another.
Yeah. So, what can I help you with today?
So I've made a very big decision. I'm reclaiming my home, and I'm very excited about it. Um, and so I've really been putting it out there that whatever I whatever I need to hear, or just, I guess, just asking for help
Yeah,
in going
let's
forward
do
in that
this.
process.
So for everyone on the call, every single one of us has plans of some sort, and some of them are big plans. Just want to open up a deeper sense of support and security as you step forward into your plan. Because what I'm sensing with you, this like visual image that I have, it's like you're walking in the attic of a house and you're uncertain where to step because you can crash through to the room below. So I just want to bring in support energy for you and for everyone else who is considering some sort of big shift in your life. Because what I feel with you, and I think this is really common for a lot of people, especially right now, the sense is there's no safety net. There's nothing to catch you if you fall. So I want to bring in that deeper feeling of security. And the reason I see that visual image of walking in the attic of a house and then falling through the floor because there's no security, it's not just that you have no security and you fall, you destroy the object that you are trying to build in the process of your own collapse. So I just want to clear all of that away as a fear. And another way of putting this is it feels like you're like reclaiming the house, but the subconscious fear is that the house has been booby trapped by people who don't want you to have it, and you need to like get rid of all those booby traps. Okay, beautiful. Take a deep breath and hold it. There you go. Release when you're ready. Okay, so I'm glad I called on you because I think that can be beneficial for everyone.
Yes, definitely, definitely. There's a strong presence when you said the booby trap. There's a strong presence there right now that um, I don't want to go to that space, but I know I need to face
Mm-hmm.
that.
Awesome.
But I want to be strong within myself when I
Awesome.
do that, so that I don't
Beautiful.
go there.
Okay. Well,
So
thank
thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.
Thank you.
I'm going to put you back on mute. And now we're going to go to Devrani. So, hi, can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yes. What can I do for you?
Hi. Yes. I was told that I have the stubborn energy which goes like 14 or 15 generations back in my family.
Okay, who
And
told you this?
I was told by somebody
Okay,
that I,
so yeah, I think the first place to start, I'm sorry to cut you off. There are a huge number of people that connect with me who say, I was told something, and
yeah,
because they believed it when they were told it, it became their truth when it
yeah,
had nothing to do with their truth before you were told it. So
okay.
there are a lot of us on the call right now who have gone to an astrologer, for example, or a tarot reader, and the
Mm-hmm.
tarot reader said, you will never be wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And because that person was told they would never be wealthy, they believed it and it became their truth. When it really wasn't their truth in the first part, it was programmed into them by an authority figure that we gave power to. So I just want to clear that away from everyone, first of all. Just want to clear away anywhere and everywhere you have allowed somebody else to tell you what your truth is. Anywhere and everywhere you have allowed somebody else to tell you what your truth is, and you believed it because you were uncertain about your own truth in the moment. Let's clear that away if it limits you. Now, it's glorious if you go to an astrologer and they say you will be massively successful and you absorb that energy and you become massively successful. I don't want to clear that away. But just those prophecies, those self-fulfilling prophecies that other people make about your life that come true because you gave it power. You gave your power away to their prophecy. To clear all that away for everyone. Okay, beautiful. And then I'm not saying this is you, but I can see this in a group of people. I just want you to recognize that sometimes when you go to a tarot reader or a healer or something, what they're actually doing is you need to take it with a grain of salt, because they will say, you have this problem, you will never be successful unless you book 25 sessions with me and I'll fix it for you. But we don't book the 25 sessions with them. We walk away with the essentially the curse that we will never be successful. So I just want to clear that for everyone. This is really important, very important, not to give your power away to other people who are trying to sell you something. Okay, beautiful. So sorry for cutting you off, but that felt really important in the moment. Uh, so where were we?
Yeah, yeah. It's about the stubborn energy and the
Yeah.
ego.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So what I'm sensing with you is that it's not really stubborn energy. It's that you have an idea of what you would like to have happen in your life, and other people have different opinions. And if
mhm,
you disagree with them and say, I want to do this, they call you stubborn. And I
mhm,
see it as a gendered thing. It's like you, as a woman, you're supposed to go with the flow of what the men want. And if you don't do what they tell you you're going to do with your life, then you're stubborn. So I want to actually celebrate that stubbornness, because it's not really stubbornness at all. It
mhm,
might be to some degree, but it's really you identifying for yourself what your truth is and what you want to do with your life, and then standing by it. And that's not a thing to be embarrassed about, it's a thing to celebrate. Does that make sense?
yes, it does.
Yeah, so let's do that shift for you. So
Okay.
stubbornness is, in fact, an energy that can trip you up and slow you down. And most of us are stubborn in terms of holding grudges against other people, or thinking that we're right and refusing to look at evidence. So, we will stubbornly cling to a conspiracy theory or an idea and just refuse to let go of it because we're stubborn. But that's different than what I'm seeing with you. It's that you have a clear idea of what you want to do, but other people say, no, you can't do that. And therefore you're
Mm.
stubborn. So let's clear that away. Beautiful. And as I'm doing this, just out of the corner of my eye, this thing popped up from Vicky. So I want to kind of pull this in as well. It says, would you please do the clearing about not being affected or limited by society's beliefs or restrictions. Thank you. So yes, that's what we're doing right now. Allowing you to stand in your truth and not feel that you are subject to restrictions put on you by society, family members, authority figures who have an agenda, and your power is not their agenda. And therefore, you're stubborn for doing what you want to do. Let's clear that away. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now take a very deep breath and clear it away. Yeah, very deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release when you're ready. Okay, so how do you feel?
Yeah, good. Thank you. That was good. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Okay, I put you back on mute, and I'm going to go to a phone number ending in 0447. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, who is this?
Hi, it's Wilma. I'm so glad you took my call. I raised my hand because it was such an amazing clearing you did, but it occurred to me I should ask him to do something on money, like being broke, because my father died broke and in debt, right? So I thought, okay,
Yeah,
this is what I'm going to raise my hand for.
absolutely.
But here's the biggie, though. While you were saying to that last person, when you go to, go to a tarot reader or astrologer, back decades ago, when I was first divorced, my friend wanted to go to a tarot reader, and I don't believe in them, so I went. But I put my wedding ring back on just to test the guy out. And so he said to me very angrily, I don't know why you're wearing that. I think you're wearing it to trick me. And he said, I know you're not married, you're divorced, and you're never, ever going to have any other name than your father's. And I remember sitting there and having like almost a fear go through me, but it was just like a split second. And I walked out and I said to her, the guy's crazy. But when you were talking to that last person, it flashed to me. And I thought, oh my God, now that my father's dead, right? I still have his name because I took my name back when I got divorced and never remarried. But I'm now living what he was living, like the barely making it.
Yeah.
And well, you know how many times I've talked to you with the money thing.
Awesome.
So somehow or other, I'm glad I raised my hand for that.
Yeah,
but I'm
so
glad that first
let's do
horror
that
brought
now.
that up.
Let's do that now so we don't slow down the process because we have limited time. So the family tradition of poverty or the family tradition of struggle, and for most of us, I can see on the call, it's not poverty that's the family tradition, it's the energetic pattern of just barely squeaking by, the energy of treading water financially, and that you always seem to have about $500 more in bills than you have cash available, and you always have to figure out what needs to be cut. So you always balance the budget every month in the end, but you have to restrict yourself and you have to sacrifice your desires in order to get there. I want to clear that as a family tradition or any other form of negative financial situation that's a family tradition. So
can you include the Catholic thing in there?
The Catholic thing.
Well, I'm saying that because the other side of the coin is my mother, who always felt we couldn't have
what I want to do
more
is
than
focus,
you need.
because if we go like super broad spectrum, we end up going like super shallow and nothing clears. So let's do that, but let's do it one at a time. So first of all, I want to clear away any and all family traditions that are based on just the energetic stance of lack, however that manifests itself for you. Beautiful. Okay, and then we'll layer onto it any and all religious traditions that call upon you to live in lack. Anywhere and everywhere within your family, there is a belief system that money or success is the gateway to hedonism or corruption or anything else. Let's clear it away, that God wants you to be poor and therefore your family is poor. anything like that. Just clear it all away. Okay. Okay, beautiful. And then there's one final thing I'm seeing in your family heritage that might be applicable to everyone else as well. It's the feeling that as long as you're poor, you know who your true friends are.
Oh, yeah.
And that if you were wealthy, you wouldn't know who your true friends are. So community would be meaningless. Community in money is meaningless. The community has meaning if everyone's poor. So let's clear that away as a family mindset, family tradition mindset. Okay, beautiful. There's almost, I can see in your family heritage, there's like this celebration of the impoverished community, because in the impoverished community, everyone supports everyone else, and that somehow that's destroyed if people have money. So that doesn't, it's can be true, but it's not necessarily true. So that's what we're clearing away from your history. Okay, there you go.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. So I'm going to put you back on mute. I'm going to take a couple more hands here. I'm going to go to Miriam. Hi, Miriam. You might be muted on your end. There we
Yes,
go.
hi.
Hi.
Okay, so your clearing today hit me personally double. You know, I did have an episode of sexual abuse when I was a child, but then a traumatic of, economic trauma that my parents went through fire and bankruptcy, etc. So
yeah, so we've got to clear
and then
the way it all bleeds together for you, and like the memory of one trauma reminds you of all the others.
yeah.
Yeah, because it becomes overwhelming. It becomes overwhelming. Now, this is what I call the energetic cascade. And a lot of people do this, especially when they are feeling victimized. So they'll think about one thing that's going wrong in their life, or one unpleasant experience they've had, and then that reminds them of something else that's also going wrong that's similar. And then before long, it begins to snowball and it cascades into a massive avalanche of victimhood. So we'll need to clear that away. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing right now, but I can see that that is a family tradition in your family. It's like when
Yeah.
when your mother would have one thing go wrong in the home, she'd suddenly be angry about everything that's ever gone wrong in the home.
Yeah, no, you touched it perfectly. She hated her life, and then she hated me for being different and from trying harder and achieving more. And then she told me, "Who are you?" I mean,
so let's clear all of that away. But the primary thing we're clearing here for you and everyone else on the call, if they have it, is that cascading energy of, you cannot think about one bad thing that's happened without remembering every bad thing that's happened simultaneously. So it's impossible to look at a trauma without instantaneously cascading into overwhelm.
yes.
So let's clear that away in you and everyone else. And your mother was very gifted at this, I can see. But it's not just her, it's a tradition. It's a tradition.
Yeah, and the other thing, Patrick, that you touched today was basically because we have gone through all of this. Now we are presented with this situation, this crisis globally. So therefore, the fear of fly, fight, freeze, faint, and the fear.
The fear, of course.
sheer
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
And then your head is blocked because
Yeah.
you cannot think clearly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was focusing on there. So, and it's especially important for all of us right now to get rid of that cascading energy, because it's magnified in times of crisis. Because not only are you remembering all the horrible things that have happened in the past all at once, and you're in the energy of them all together, you're thinking about all the horrible things that can happen in the future and all the terrible things that are happening right now. And it's overwhelming. It gives you the tunnel vision. You shut down. You actually end up just collapsing and freezing in that process. So
Yes.
thank you so much. And I think that was really helpful for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Thank
going
you.
to go to Dustin. So Dustin, you're unmuted.
Good morning, Patrick. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I've got a lazy mind issue.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes it'll be incredibly sharp and wise and all that good jazz, and other times it's like looking at a brick wall. It feels like that's just this wall that comes up, and I know that I'm doing it in some way. I take responsibility for it. My best guess is I'm afraid to live in my joy. It's like whenever I get into a great place, I'll like somehow bring it in again and shut down.
So why, yeah, let me just ask you right now, what is scary about joy? What's dangerous about joy?
Hmm.
Yeah, so I can see it right now. You don't even need to answer. So, okay, so there are a couple of things that are dangerous about joy within you. Number one, it's the feeling that if you are in the energy of joy, you're accruing debt. And I'm not
Oh,
talking money debt, but
yeah.
your joy must be paid for in some way. And if you have your joy before you've paid for it, you're just facing some sort of nightmarish scenario in the future where you're going to pay a price for that joy. And that's just a belief system. We need to clear that away. So the feeling is that I can't have joy now because I haven't earned it yet. I haven't paid for it. And when that bill comes due, it's going to be horrific. And I'll forget any joy I ever had. That
Yeah.
somehow the joy I experience is frivolous and meaningless and self-indulgent and silly, and therefore I shouldn't have it because it's just wrong to, self-indulge. So we're going to clear that away. The other part that feels dangerous about joy is that if you are in an energy of joy, you will let your guard down and then you will smash into a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
So too much joy in your subconscious mind, the fear is that if you're in joy, you'll begin to overlook the danger signs and you'll ignore things until it's too late. And then because you crash into a brick wall, it's much more painful if you crash into it from a joyful place than from a place of pain. So let's
Yeah.
clear that away as well. It's that energy of the more you have to lose. So it's best not to have anything. Okay. And I can see that your mind is actually not lazy in the slightest. It just becomes lazy in fear situations. And there's something really sharp piercing into your left eye.
Mm.
Ouch, that hurts. Oh my gosh. Okay, so why is it attacking your eyes? Something about, I don't know, not wanting to see yourself clearly. Okay, anyway, let me do a healing for everyone in the third eye and in the eyes. Okay. Oh, okay, Dustin, how do you feel?
Thank you. It's I feel this heat and kind of tingles in my forearms actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
Oh, beautiful. So I'm putting you back on mute and I'm going to go to Hema. Hi. Can you hear me? And once again, Hema, you might be muted on your end.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can. Thank
Oh,
you.
awesome. I didn't want to miss this opportunity.
Mhm.
Okay. Patrick, last couple of days, this thought has been coming up with a feeling that I'm a failure. and the feeling of fear.
Okay. Okay. Well,
And
wow. Okay. I'm just trying to read into the situation a little bit more. Is this sudden? Is this new?
yeah, I mean, you know a little bit about it. I'm still going through my job loss, and
Hmm.
I
Yeah, but
think
you've
I'm
had challenges before in your past, and the thought of I'm a failure has never been your response to those challenges.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's clear whatever it is now that's making you feel like a failure. And it could be one of those things that are patterned on somebody else's timeline.
Hmm.
Was there somebody in your family, a father or mother, who at your age suffered a
Oh,
failure?
yeah,
Okay.
probably.
So let's
Yeah.
clear that
My
out.
father, probably. My
Yeah.
mother too.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's that feeling that there's a certain threshold beyond which you simply cannot cope with challenges anymore, and it's an age threshold. So there's a vibrant phase of your life where challenges happen and you weather them well and you're not a failure. But then after a certain age, everything you do ends in failure, and it's a timeline thing. So we need to do two clearings here. We need to clear that timeline pattern away, clear away the feeling that you are a failure. And then we need to do a healing on the concept of failure itself and recognize that failure doesn't mean you collapse into a heap of despair, that failure can actually be a springboard to greater success because you can learn from the failure. So we're just going to kind of package all that together and clear it all out at once for you and for everyone else on the call as well. Okay, and I can see in the group that's in the call, there are some people who, when you have a failure, you get energized and you say, okay, I'm going to do it differently next time. How do I move forward from here? And there are a few of you in the group who just collapse into a heap of despair when you have a failure. And somehow you've made the transition from one energy to the other. So let's clear all of everything that needs to be cleared for everyone. Okay. Okay. How are you feeling?
Thank you. That really resonated with me. So, yep, whatever happens from here. But I was also able to relate to I'm feeling okay. I just have to remind myself and look at the opportunity that comes from it. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. So I'm going to put you back on mute. And then I'm looking for Eric. Eric had his hand raised, but now poof, he's gone. I don't see him anywhere. So maybe he had to leave at the hour and I just didn't get to him in time. Okay, so wonderful. So I've got a couple more things here really quickly that I want to go through. I've got a message from Hannah. Looks like, yeah, about overwhelm. Uh, when asking for help or doing an I should do list, this list piling piling things on and then not doing anything. Okay, so if you have a passion for list making but never following through on the list, let's kind of shift that around for you, because I know a lot of times it feels like you have control of the situation when you make a list of things that you're going to do, but then you just can't get into the energy of doing it. So let's just clear that away for everyone and bring in another way of feeling like you have control over your situation. Beautiful. Okay, I've got Elena writing, please help me break away from any and all of my addiction. So yeah, we just did that. The addictions that we cleared within your family, that also applies to addictions that are exclusively within you so that they don't become family traditions in the future. So that includes like all of those abstract process addictions like addiction to worry, addiction to fear, grief, sadness, and so on. Yeah, okay, so beautiful, Elena. We have done that. Um, got James writing, I felt I could not have more than my parents. Oh, I can't have more than my parents, that they're stronger and in control. Yes. So for everyone in the group, anywhere and everywhere, you've decided that you are simply not allowed to do better than your parents, to have more than them, to have more joy, more freedom, more passion, more success than your parents, because outshining them is somehow an insult to them or any other reason. Let's clear that away. Beautiful. Now, another energetic pattern that I want to clear for everyone is what a lot of teenagers pick up and then they carry with them through the rest of their life. And we all know that teenagers, quite often, they'll just swear to themselves, I will never, ever, ever be like him or her. Their father gets angry with them. They say, I'm never going to be like you. I'm never going to be like my mom. And then over time they turn into their mom or dad. So there's an energetic thing going on there where that intense resistance and where you swear you will never turn into your father, it causes two things. Either you attract into your life people who are exactly like your father, so you never escape the energy at all, or you become your father yourself or your mother or whoever the authority figure is. So let's just do a reset for that. So if you've made any oaths or vows or promises or taken an energetic stance of, I will never be like him, I will never do that, I will never act like you, or anything else, chances are if you did that, it was in your teenage years. Just clear all that away. So that energy isn't vibrating inside you constantly, either transforming you into the thing that you dislike or attracting people into your life who are exactly like the things that you disliked in your mother or father. Okay, beautiful. Of course, that leads us into the really common scenario where people recognize after it's too late that they've actually married their mother or father. So we can kind of clear that away. It's amazing how many times somebody will be in a relationship with somebody else and then suddenly they'll realize, oh my God, you're acting exactly like my mom. So if that's an issue, we'll clear that away for everyone. Beautiful. And then one more thing that I want to do that's on my list is really want to get into the deep, deep ancestry. It's very rare that in a healing, with like my colleagues and so forth, other people who do healings, and I don't do it very often myself, but it's very rare that we go into the deep, deep human ancestry, like all the way back into the Stone Age, back into the period in time in human ancestry when life was literally defined by struggle and that you really had to be on your guard at all times, otherwise you would die. So we all bear the traumatic imprint of our deep ancestry. We all bear the traumatic imprint of those survival situations that were never ending. And if you ever let your guard down, calamity would happen. So let's just go way, 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 way back, 1,000 generations back into the Stone Age and beyond, when life itself for human beings literally was kill or be killed, or eat or be eaten, and arduous hard work with no cell phones or anything. Let's do a healing of that trauma. Do a healing of that trauma as it is in your past life memory and as it is in your family history, probably in your DNA, in your genetics. Wow, this is really building up some pressure in the head for a lot of people. Wow. Okay, almost. Okay, there we go. Everyone take a very deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release that when you're ready. Wow. Okay, so now I'm going to take a peek at the Q&A. So I've got Dion writing. I have noticed that there is a way that I am not able to fully receive or bask in or acknowledge my accomplishments. Uh, Beautiful. So let's clear this for you and for everyone else. So anywhere and everywhere you have decided that celebrating your accomplishments is the same thing as arrogance and being full of yourself, let's get the truth about that and clear that away. Everywhere you've decided that it's somehow wrong for you to point out your accomplishments or to share them with others, or you get self-conscious and embarrassed and even humiliated when somebody else praises you for an accomplishment. Let's clear that away. Beautiful. And let's bring in a deep awareness of how to and what it feels like to celebrate every single one of your joys, your successes, and your accomplishments without arrogance, without bragging, and without becoming narcissistic. And this is crucial for you to be able to do because this is the heart and soul of gratitude. Okay, so often we're grateful for things outside of ourselves that are happening. You should also be able to feel gratitude for the things that you've done that are worthy of celebration. Beautiful. So thank you. Thank you. So I've got Maria says her hair is thinning. Okay, let's just do a healing for everyone and beautiful. It's just a broad spectrum healing. Now you can focus in on whatever specific physical condition or symptom you want the healing energy to go to. And in Maria's case, it will be to the scalp and the thinning hair. So let's just do that for everyone. But chances are, Maria, you're just modeling your mother's thinning hair at the same age. So let's just accept and receive some healing energy for whatever symptom is bothering you right now. Beautiful. And take a deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release. And I do want to round this healing energy out a bit because I see Elena's reminding me again, and then there are several other people who are simply addicted to victim narratives. So let's clear this out for you now. We'll probably focus more on this next week. But anywhere and everywhere you have in the back of your mind a narrative, this story format, a plot that involves victimization, and you just cast yourself in the role of victim in this type of story over and over and over again, and you're reliving the same victim narrative just with a different cast of characters over and over again. Let's clear that away. So addiction to victim narratives. Of course, the type of victim narrative that I often rail against is the conspiracy theory victim narrative. Just think about all the conspiracy theories you've read over the years. They all are exactly the same story of victimhood, just with different characters. People cling to them because they just love that victim narrative. Beautiful, but any other narrative as well is being cleared. Okay, beautiful. Now take another deep breath on that, and let's clear that away. Wonderful. Okay, so we are at the 70-minute mark. So everyone, let's just tie all this together. Want to bring everyone back into the circle. If you've drifted away or disconnected, just simply focus in again and feel reconnected with me, with your higher self, with everyone else in the group. Let's do a little bit of integration work. Let's bring in an additional wave of energy to hit anything and everything related to what we've talked about today, but didn't directly hit. Just kind of an expansion of the energy that you've experienced today. To clear anything that will cause you to revert to your previous energetic state. And a little sleep support energy, so all of this can integrate very deeply as you sleep. Now take a very deep breath and hold it for a moment to lock everything in. And then release. And I'm disconnecting from all of you energetically. And as I'm disconnecting, feel free to ground yourself whatever way you would like. Thank you very much. This is Patrick Prohaska from Lightbridge Academy.